Peace and love. Welcome back to another episode of the I Have a First podcast. This is the New Orleans special. If you have not got yourself a drink, go and get one now. I'll see you in a bit. Let's go. Family, welcome. This is, of course, the New Orleans special, and this wouldn't be a New Orleans special without some music. So here we are. Here's a bit of music. Yes, so this is I Have a First. What is I Have a First? That is where I have a drink and, I chop it up with you guys. And of course, if you have a drink you would like to suggest, leave it down in the comments and I may drink it in the next video. So I've got another thought-provoking episode for you. We are in New Orleans. Today I've got an iced coffee. So this is a caramel iced coffee, and at the bottom you can see I got some pecan butter syrup. So I'll take a little sip. Tastes totally different from the iced coffee that I get in the UK. So it's quite creamy. Oh, that's good. By the way, have you got yourself a drink yet? If not, pause the video now. Welcome back. Good. So, in the last episode, I talked about racism in football. Earlier this year, the Women's World Cup was held in Australia. And there was a match between England and Nigeria. And in this match, Nigeria took England to the very limit. How far did they push them? Well, the match went to penalties. I've got Ashley Plumpter, my Nigerian sister, who addresses the snide, underhanded and racist comments that the media uses when they are addressing African teams.
After this game, I'm tired of people just saying the African team are just strong and they're just fast. Like, count us out as being technical or tactical. And we've just pushed England to the very end, and I actually think that we have better chances than them. It is a privilege to be on this team. My goodness, I'm exactly where I'm meant to be.
So reporters and commentators believe that they are clever. These people and these institutions believe that by using coded language, such as this player strong and they're powerful and black gold, as I pointed out in my last video, these people believe that they can hide their racism, but unfortunately, this is not the case. And we see right through the charade. These entities make it seem like African players do not have skill or strategy. This could not be further from the truth, and quite frankly, it's quite insulting. As we saw in the Women's World Cup, the match between Nigeria and England, there was nothing in it. The match went to penalties because Nigeria, as I said, Nigeria pushed England to the very limit. England's women are considered, one of the best teams in the world. So that says a lot that Nigeria was able to stand toe-to-toe. So it's very clear that racism is rampant in football. We are going to continue to call this out until real and substantial systematic change comes. sometimes you've got to remind people of your greatness. If you watch boxing, you'll be familiar with this term, TBE. What does it mean? So the term TBE stands for the following: the best ever. So when it comes to Floyd Money Mayweather, he refers to himself as TBE, the best ever. And this is significant because Floyd Money Mayweather is distinguishing himself from Muhammad Ali, who said the following.
Everybody stop talking now. Attention. I told you, all of my critics, I told you all that I was the greatest of all time. When I beat Sonny Liston, I told you today I'm still the greatest of all time.
I think it's important to understand why Floyd Money Mayweather has created this distinction. And it's clear. So this distinction is in place because Floyd Money Mayweather wants to show respect and reverence to Muhammad Ali.
Right here. You're backed by arguably one of the greatest of all time, right?
What are we rating ourselves on? What are we rating on?
Okay.
Well, we're gonna know in the least amount of fights. You know, I didn't have to have 70 fights or 150 fights, 300 fights. Did I not beat the most world champions?
Yes, you did.
Okay. And in the least amount of fights,
Yes, you did.
who got the highest gate?
Floyd Mayweather.
Who made the most money?
You did.
Who was the most accurate fighter of all time?
You were.
So it's basically saying that.
The greatest of all time.
Okay.
All right. No disrespect, champ. No disrespect.
As we saw from the clip, the reporter was not specific with the language he was using. And as a result, Mayweather had to address this misconception. So there's a life lesson in here. And it's this, that sometimes in life, people look past all the accomplishments that we have achieved. And, if you come across people like this, it is your duty to remind them of who you are, because you need to be proud of everything you have been achieved. And sometimes it can be a case of, what have you done for me lately? Because that's sort of like the society we're in at the minute, the instant gratification and what's going on now. And we don't take into account the long term. What has this person achieved? And, you don't have to be pompous about it. There's a way and a way of correcting someone who overlooks you. So let's just think about that.
This program is sponsored by my book, Whiteboard, Black Pieces, Race in the West. What does it mean to be black in the Western world? To find out, click the Amazon link in the description down below.
So, tunjitalks, how's your drink? Mine's pretty good. Oh man, that pecan really is coming through. So, as you know, here at tunjitalks, we cover issues that are considered thought-provoking. And so we are going to talk about money. So some people like to shy away from money, and others like to talk about money. And I have a few questions. And you can either answer these questions in your head, or you can answer them down below in the comments. So I've got 3 questions, nothing too drastic. So here they are. So Do you spend more than you make? Do you have a budget? Do you have savings?
Whatever you earn, don't spend more than 2/3 of what you earn. Save 1/3 because you will need that 1/3 in times of difficulty. And also, the 1/3 that you save gives you what you call optionality, flexibility. If the boss makes life very difficult for you, you can quit, accept maybe a lesser paying job until you find another job. So resilience and flexibility and optionality, I think, should be built in the way we think about financial security. Cost of living varies from person to person. It depends on what you consume, what you spend your money on. That's why I come back again to this principle of frugality. Spend on what is essential, especially in difficult times. Try to save. Saving for a rainy day, such as when cost of living goes up, is very important. It's about resilience.
So there are a number of ways that people can reduce their cost of living. So let's say, do you need to have that takeaway every single day? Would it be cheaper to home cook? Do you need to have that Netflix account? Do you need to have that Disney Plus? Do you need to have do you need to watch all the boxing and MMA pay-per-views? Right there, you could easily save yourself a couple £100 a month. And the following: people should be mindful of their money. If you don't value your money, and if you spend your money recklessly, you will be in bad financial shape, which is absolutely true. I was reading a book recently, and in the book, the author was saying that people need to respect their money, and not enough people respect their money. Like, people view money as a thing, as an object. Money. Whereas, no, you need to actually care for it as if it was, you need to care for your money as if it were a child, sort of thing. So in that, you need to be attentive. And some people are not attentive when it comes to money, but these are all things that can be worked on. So if you're not here today, it doesn't mean you can't be there tomorrow. It just takes practice and time and putting it at the forefront of your mind, because if you do that, eventually it will become second nature. We are going to continue exploring money. So before we go any further, I would like to present you with a scenario. Would you prefer to be handed a single fish, or would you prefer it if I taught you how to fish? Let me know down in the comments. So, you may be familiar with Shark Tank. If you're not, it's effectively the American version of Dragon's Den. Dragon's Den and Shark Tank, they're basically the same show for different markets, but they're more or less the same. So if you do watch Shark Tank, you may be familiar with a Canadian businessman named Kevin O'Leary. So he discusses how he deals with family members who ask him for money.
More money, more problems? Yes, yes. I'll tell you something about money. It's a fantastic thing because it buys you freedom, but it makes your life complicated because a lot of people want some of it from you for free, particularly family members. This is a huge issue. Now, here's how you solve that problem. And I've been doing this for years and years and years. And I'm not saying this is good or bad or what you should do. I'm telling you what I do. Okay, family member comes to me and says, look, I want to build a restaurant. I need you to give me $150,000 to get started. I don't want to go into partnership with somebody in my extended family. That really ruins Thanksgiving dinner. So what I say to them is, look, you've never asked me for money before. I'm going to give you, in that case, $50,000. It's not a loan. It's a gift. I never want it back from you, on one condition and one condition only. You never ask me for money again, ever, ever. You never come to me again for money, and we never talk about this again, ever. Here's the check. And then I go back to polishing my eggs.
So I want to know your thoughts on this issue. Is O'Leary being too harsh with family members? Was he being too lenient? I don't know. Let me know down in the comments, Tunji Talkers.
Yo, what's going on, ladies and gentlemen? To the man if you like the man.
To support the show, there are two ways you can go about that: PayPal and Cash App. Cash App, # Tunji Talks, that's # Tunji Talks, that's # Tunji Talks, or PayPal, paypal.me/Tunji Talks, that's paypal.me/Tunji Talks, that's paypal.me/Tunji Talks.
So when it comes to work, we have leaders who who steer the ship and set the course for the employees. So leaders are supposed to be pillars that we can rely on. And in this next clip, we're going to witness what happens when a leader gets spooked.
Boss messages at 9 p.m. Hey dude, just seen the slides for tomorrow's meeting. I don't think it's good to focus on competitors' market strategies. Not good for optics. Need to change the focus more on Q2 results, okay? Realize it's late, bro, but I really appreciate this. I mean, look, firstly, the managers who sort of go bro and dude and just try and be all your matey whilst trying to get you to go, I hate that, right? I really, it's such an, unlikable quality. And the second thing is just the assumption that he's going to do it, right? It's 9 p.m, what are you doing messaging him then? Good evening, Tom. It's 9 p.m. Please understand for obvious reasons, I will not be doing this. Thank you. Yeah, fucking right. Good response. You're paid to do a job. I need you to do that job for me, pal. Pal is getting a little bit nasty now, isn't he? I've done the job for you, pal. Yeah, good response. You're more than able to make the change yourself. I'm not working this late. This is great, right? Because the employee first response was, I think, genuinely, in more than the case, just to ignore this completely, but fair play to him responding. He came back quite respectful. Good evening, thank you. The second one, he's quite right to start being a little bit more sarcastic and using pal. So I'm a big fan of his response there. What are you doing then? None of your fucking business. It's 9 p.m. at night. What are you doing? I can't imagine what you're doing is more important than this. You know how important this is. Pick up your phone. Oh God, he's calling him now. I'm not calling you or replying to this. The presentation will go fine tomorrow. Don't worry. I'll see you in the morning. This is shockingly bad practice. Call me now. This is urgent. When I asked you today, you said to me you didn't have evening plans. So either you lied or you think nothing is more important than your job. God, I don't know what to say to that. I mean, he's just so obviously in the wrong, such poor management. And also, it's a really small point, this one, but the boss is meant to reassure the person that, tomorrow, don't worry about it tomorrow. It's a big presentation. It'll be fine. Why is the employee doing that for the boss? He's literally failing at every single possible management moment. He has failed in this text chain. So, God, this person needs to get out of this, because that is just, I can't begin to tell you how bad a manager this person is across the board. Yeah, that's mad, that one.
So there's a lot to unpack there, but I'm just going to pick three things. And also let me know your comments down below. Have I missed something? If I have, let me know down below. So it's clear in this case the leader has failed. So instead of reassuring his colleague, The leader has lost all composure, and as a result, the leader has lost the respect of his colleague, but has also lost control of the situation. And I'll expand on this a little bit later. 2, a false sense of security is created by using manipulative language to persuade the colleague to do the work outside of work hours. So, for instance, when he's like, oh, buddy and pal, using that sort of language, I'm sure as the leader was texting that, he was thinking, oh, be a team player, that sort of thing. And in the workplace, people do not appreciate being manipulated. It does not go down well. And my final point, that the leader is making a mountain out of a molehill. Especially when he's like, oh, this is urgent, call me. No, absolutely not. Then, when the leader uses like personal information to attack him, when he's like, oh, but when we had a discussion earlier on today, you weren't doing anything this evening. It's like, excuse me, how dare you use information from a conversation you had in order to manipulate me? The caveat being, let's say this company, if they were working on a deal which could potentially be worth like, I don't know, $400 million, I'm sure, all members of the team would be willing to do additional work. But from the sounds of it, the leader has got spooked, and he's then trying to pass that nervous energy onto his team. And sometimes we have to trust the work. We have to trust the process, because these individuals, I don't know what field they're in, but they are professionals. So sometimes we've just got to trust the work, and we have to believe it is good enough. Because that little doubt, that voice of doubt can cripple. This leader has become crippled by their lack of self-confidence, and they're listening too much to that voice of doubt in their head. And Tunji Talkers, we have come to the end of today's episode. I have had a blast here in New Orleans. I hope you've enjoyed the jazz I've been playing throughout. Well, not just the jazz, the music in general I've been playing throughout. This has been another episode of the I Have a Thirst podcast. And Tunji Talkers, remember, it is winning season forever and always. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe. I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.